Traditionally, when you do buttonholes on the Bernina 790, you select the stitch. It tells you to put the automatic buttonhole foot on and off you go. So what if your buttonhole needed to be longer than the foot is and allows you to go? So now we're talking about foot 3C. So before I do anything, I am going to tell the machine that that is the foot that we'll be using. So I'm going to select it there. And you'll find that a manual buttonhole will let you do a buttonhole that is any length in size. So I have actually done a buttonhole that was actually quite large. Something had to go through it. And obviously that original foot would have maxed out about 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches long, and I needed to go much further. It turned out perfect, by the way. So what I was able to do is you go into the eye and touch man, or short for manual. So here is where you can actually go in. As you do the steps, then you'll be able to choose what step is next. And this is also a great way, should you ever need to repair a buttonhole, you can go to just the step that you needed to stitch, and then when it gets all the way down, it'll finish with like the locking stitches you're used to seeing on the very last step of a standard buttonhole. So I'm going to just take you back up here. I've marked my fabric as a starting point and an ending point. So as I go, I'll be watching for these marks as I go back and forth, choosing each of the steps. So every time I stop, I'm going to touch the screen and switch over to the next step. So that will be, it's actually that easy. And again, being able to make a buttonhole any size is awesome. So I'm going to just set my presser foot down over the first line of the buttonhole that I want to stitch, and then go ahead and sew. You'll notice that it's going to stitch down the left side of the buttonhole, and I'm looking and watching for that second line. Now you are in charge of stopping the machine, so I've taken my foot off the foot control. Now I'm going to reach up to that next step, and if you remember on the automatic ones, this is the one that actually travels back up to where we started. And again, I'm in charge, so I'm looking for where those stitches are and then touching the next one. Next one's going to be the tack at the top. It does the right amount of stitches. So even though, so it stopped for me after that tack was stitched. And now when I select the next part, it is the leg that comes down on the right side, but I'm in charge of the length. So come close. Touch the next one, which is the tack at the bottom, just the right amount of stitches. And then there is actually one more. That's the locking stitches. And then you can use the thread cutter. So that is actually how to make a manual buttonhole any length you want.